talking about the politics and economy of North Korea so far. And now we're connected to an expert overseas to hear more about the North Korea's nuclear issue. Sean King, Senior Vice President of Park Strategies, are here joining us. Hello. The first question I will have you is, with Iran agreeing to a denuclearization deal on April 2nd, the international community has turned its attention to North Korean nuclear issues. Do you think that the Iranian agreement would have any impact or bearing on North Korean nuclear program?
Well, it won't have any deterrent, if that's what you mean, because the situations are fundamentally different. The Iran deal attempts to delay Iran's time to break out to a nuclear weapon, if they wish to do so, from 2 to 3 months to a year. The problem is that North Korea has already broken out with the nuclear weapon. Iran is at least operating under the pretense that it's for civilian energy use only. So the Iran deal cannot be a model for or deterrent to North Korea because it already has a nuclear weapon. If anything, I see the Iran deal providing North Korea with strategic and business opportunities in Iran because it gives North Korea the chance to strategize and cross-research with Iran on uranium enrichment and/or sell it missiles to deliver its nukes if and when it decides to break out. So it's neutral to bad from my point of view.
Many experts are saying that the situation in the north is very different from that of Iran. In your mind, in what ways are they different?
Well, aside from the fact that North Korea already has a nuclear weapon, one big difference is that Iran is in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT, which North Korea left in 2003. Also, the Iranian economy is much more integrated with the world economy, while North Korea is pretty much isolated aside from its missile, illicit business, and regular business with China. And North Korea, the objective of the nuke is basically regime preservation and/or to earn money abroad from illicit weapons sales. Iran, meanwhile, is part of a larger Sunni-Shia struggle across the Middle East with a religious overtone, while it's also funding insurgencies and terrorists in Iraq, Yemen, and Lebanon. So it's part of a much bigger picture, while the North Korean nuke pretty much pertains only to North Korea itself, assuming, of course, they don't sell it for use by another party, which they might always do. And then lastly, there was never really any military option as regards North Korea. With Iran, a few years ago, probably there would have been if the United States had agreed to look the other way if and when Israel tried to take out its nuclear facility, but I'm afraid that that moment has also passed.
What do you think is the intention of Pyongyang's continued provocation, even in the face of the Iran's nuclear agreement?
Well, three things, really. One, most North Koreans now know, even though the regime does its best to keep them in the dark, that South Koreans are better off than they are. So for purposes of domestic consumption or propaganda, Kim Jong-un needs to be seen as waging war or defending the Korean peninsula against evil America in South Korea. So by firing off these missiles now and then, he's able to propagate this myth that he's defending Korea against Yankee imperialism. Two, it's a way to keep the outside world powers off balance, hoping that they can then trade a cessation of these propagations for some kind of rewards in the six-party talks or some other extortion by committee where North Korea seems to always get the better of us. And lastly, because it doesn't have a real economy, North Korea, for them, the arms trade is big business. And they make a lot of hard currency, which keeps the regime in power by selling their missiles and other parts overseas. And if they don't test them every once in a while and show their customers in the Middle East, Africa, or wherever that these things actually work, they're not going to sell anything. So really it serves those three purposes for the regime.
Thank you for sharing your insights today.